The bad thing is they're wearing these throwbacks on Sunday. Now, D'Amico Ryans is saying that he's going to start his starters. They're in. They're the 4 seed. The only thing that's on the line for the Tennessee Titans is right now they're sitting at the number 2 spot in the draft. They lose and New England wins against Buffalo's backups. Guys, they've got the number 1 pick. The last time they had the number 1 pick, 2016, traded down 2 weeks before the draft. Didn't even get to draft day. I loved it. They waited for Kobe to do something the night before, and he had some sort of anniversary. And because it was a deal with the Rams, they waited till the very next morning at 8 o'clock and announced that they had made their trade. And they got a haul that year. They had 3 All-Pros in that draft. They took Jack Conklin at right tackle at 8 overall. They got some guy named Derrick Henry at 45
Never heard
overall.
of him. Yeah, I'm familiar with his work.
And then Kevin Byard, an All-Pro, 2-time All-Pro, with the first pick in the 3rd round. So that's what's on the, and guys, the forecast is not good for Sunday. It could be some freezing rain transitioning to rain. It's going to be a cold, nasty day. Both quarterbacks are going to play. Callahan says he'll tell us which one is starting later this week, but you started Mason Rudolph each of the last 2 weeks, you lost. And he said yesterday, if I had played better and won, then I'm probably starting essentially on Sunday. So they're taking one last look at quarterback before they turn their attention to the offseason and the draft. And if they're sitting at number 1, guys, as much as I think they need to trade back and, again, get more picks, this team needs more better players. But in the NFL, if you don't have a quarterback, you ain't got a quarterback.
Is it time to put the watches up, Teresa? Are we trying to get my dog Shedeur? I know there was a report this weekend about Shedeur and the family not wanting to come to Tennessee. Can we rethink that so we can get number 2 in some Tennessee blue?
I'm just saying, Deion went on Twitter and said himself that it's like, hey, I'll talk to the teams myself and tell them what I'm thinking. And you've got Ran Carthon as GM finishing up his 2nd year. And, there was a report last weekend that Brian Callahan and his staff is safe. Now, if they lose on Sunday, Amy Adams-Strunk has made a firing in each of the last 2 seasons. Does she stay the line or does she do something? It's like, I don't know. We'll see and wait. But it's like, to me, this team is still paying the penalty for botching and whiffing on 3 straight first-round picks, 19, 20, 21, 20, 21, and 22. 19 is Jeffrey Simmons, not a botch. But they got him so late at 19 overall that John Robinson kind of got, it's like, I can take a guy who's hurt. He'll be okay. Caleb Farley, that didn't work out. And Isaiah Wilson, that did not work out. And Traylon Burks, God bless that young man, but that hasn't worked out. So it's one of those things, they need more people. And if Shedeur's there, then yes, you've got to look at it very, very closely, because looking around in free agency, Vikings aren't letting go Sam Darnold. So you might have to just be patient and take one and build for that stadium that opens in 2027.
Yeah, that's one of the things I find frustrating from a team building standpoint in the NFL is we've just got to go out there and draft a quarterback, because, Teresa, to your point, if you don't have a quarterback, it's really, really hard. And where I come off thinking as a general manager, which I'm not, but as a general manager, it's like, if you can get one, absolutely go get one. Prioritize getting one. Prioritize getting a good to great quarterback over a good to great left tackle, right tackle, what have you. But if you don't have that, I feel like too often we draft average and okay quarterbacks, and we grab average and okay quarterbacks in lieu of good to great other players, right? So if it was me as a general manager in this draft, and I'll get your thoughts on this as well, Teresa, if I was the Titans, I would say, hey, if we can get Shedeur or Cam Ward, great, and if we got the one pick, we can pick between those two if we want to, but if we don't necessarily think they are good to great, if we think they're solid but not great, not transformative players, let's just trade back and get a bunch of good players. Teresa, you hit the nail on the head with this Titans team. They've got a lot of holes over there.
They need
it's
God.
it's not just quarterback. They need, to your point, they need more better players. Like that's what they need right now. What would you do, Teresa, if you were the Titans and you end up with the number 1 overall pick?
Hey, the right side of the line has to be fixed. I'd love to see him trade back. Now, the problem is you got to have somebody to trade back with that gives you the value for that pick.
Somebody's gonna overvalue Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders.
Oh,
right? Or even what's my man's name? Why am I blanking on Travis Hunter's name? Travis Hunter.
Yeah, come on now.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, the biggest issue for this team this year, the reason that they didn't win more games, turnovers. And Will Levis has been a turnover machine for them. I mean, 12 interceptions, 5 fumbles. He was literally benched after the 4th turnover, 24 points. This defense is, right now on target to finish in the top 5. It's the number 2 pass defense in the league. But the problem is they're bad in points. Why? Because they've been on short fields too often because of the turnovers. So, I can see the argument, get somebody who's just not going to turn the ball over. But you're right. Kelvin Banks from Texas, and then move J.C. Latham over to right tackle and fix the line for the first time in years. Go get yourself the pass rusher from Penn State. Do any of 5 things. I can throw a dart at a barn right now and pick a player that they need that could play almost immediately for this team. So that's the challenge that they've got. Is how do you manipulate that into getting the best players, the most best players to fill some holes? Because Brian Callahan has been dancing around that answer the last 2 weeks. This roster needs help. They spent $228 million in free agency. Lloyd Cushenberry is a good center. He's on IR. L'Jarius Sneed did not prove to be the guy I thought he could be, and I wanted them to go get him. He's been on IR for a long time, and guys, he was getting lots of penalties before he got hurt. So it's like they tried to use money. The best way to build in the NFL is through the draft, and they've got to go do that this off. This is the most crucial offseason for this team, and I can't tell you when.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m.